So there's all kinds of ways of visualizing a message, and I'm fond of this one. It speaks to a major theme today, which really has to come down to what are you seeking? What are you looking for in your life? What matters to you? And as the Course says often, understanding is not the goal. For in other words, it's the ego believes that it's up to you to figure it out and get all this understood, and many times we get caught up in that illusion that our understanding is an essential part of the path to salvation. And there is a subtle shift in what the Course teaches is it's your intention, your wish, your desire to understand matters, not under the level of your understanding. It's so in other ways to say that is if each day you are oriented towards growing and with the spirit, that matters more than your status. And so finally, that gets transformed, as we shall read in this section, into the wish, the desire to become holy, to experience holiness, your own holiness directly. So we'll read more about that in the section from chapter 18, The Light in the Dream. This is Miracles on High Plains. My name is Jonica, and our reader for this session is David. We're going to drop back one paragraph into the previous section to remember where we were.
The Holy Spirit, ever practical in his wisdom, accepts your dreams and uses them as means for waking. You would have used them to remain asleep. I said before that the first change before dreams disappear is that your dreams of fear are changed to happy dreams. This is what the Holy Spirit does in the special relationship. It does not destroy it nor snatch it away from you, but he does use it differently as a help to make his purpose real to you. The special relationship will remain, not as a source of pain and guilt, but as a source of joy and freedom. It will not be for you alone, for therein lay its misery. As its unholiness kept it a thing apart, its holiness will become an offering to everyone.
Mm-hmm. So the Holy Spirit, who is said to be the interpreter, the voice for God, who will interpret to your mind the message of heaven, will always take the things that we are so good at, dreaming and perceiving and investing in relationships as if they were special, and help to transform them into something that is purposeful and useful in learning. And we'll do that with your wishes, your desires, and your relationships. So with that, we'll move into our new material.
You who have spent your life in bringing truth to illusion, reality to fantasy, have walked the way of dreams. You have gone from waking to sleeping, and on to a yet deeper sleep. Each dream has led to other dreams, and every fantasy that seemed to bring a light into the darkness, but made the darkness deeper. Your goal was darkness, in which no ray of light could enter, and you sought a blackness so complete that you could hide from truth forever in complete insanity. What you forgot was simply that God cannot destroy himself. The light is in you. Darkness can cover it, but cannot put it out.
Mhm. So there's a statement made here that is consistent with other statements that attempting to bring a light into the darkness, which is what the ego would do, but made the darkness deeper. And I had an insight on that that I feel to share. What is that about? And that is to say, you can do it with Course of Miracles. You can take a statement in the Course of Miracles and bring it into an ego thought system and try to understand it within the ego framework. And what we will do is then justify your ego framework and use the statement of truth to convince you that you're right. Can you see how now you think you understand? And what you've really done is interpret the truth in terms of the ego framework. And this is done all the time. If you want evidence of it, you can go on Facebook to some of the Course of Miracles things and watch how people interpret the Course of Miracles according to their ego. And so would not be helpful. and if we do this, it's best to recognize that we're using, it was said in the New Testament, described metaphorically, as putting new wine into old wine sacks. Now, an old wine sack is stiff and brittle, and as it starts to expand, when you fill it, it breaks and leaks. Putting new wine into old wine sacks. New wine is a metaphor for new truth, new understanding, into an old framework. Here in the Course, the metaphor is bringing the light into the darkness and trying to understand the light in terms of a dark view of reality and the world. Well, obviously, this is not useful. And you can guess where this is going, because if that's not the direction, then the real direction must be the opposite of bringing the darkness into the light. Go on.
As the light comes nearer, you will rush to darkness, shrinking from the truth, sometimes retreating to the lesser forms of fear, and sometimes to stark terror. But you will advance, because your goal is the advance from fear to truth. The goal you accepted is the goal of knowledge, for which you signified your willingness. Fear seems to live in darkness, and when you are afraid, you have stepped back. Let us then join quickly in an instant of light, and it will be enough to remind you that your goal is light.
Mm-hmm. So there's a reference here that says the goal you accepted is the goal of knowledge. And this theme will continue on, making reference to you've already invited the Holy Spirit in. You've already invited the Holy Spirit to be your guide, and therefore set your goal as moving towards the Holy Spirit. Does not mean that we're perfect at it or we're consistent with it all the time, but it does mean that our intentionality is to align with the Holy Spirit's vision. In this case, the goal of knowledge. The goal will be described as the goal of truth, the goal of holiness, the goal of knowledge, the goal of oneness. So all those are making reference to the same goal, different attributes of the same goal. And that goal is witnessed to entirely not by your intellectual understanding or by the words you say, but by your willingness. It's a deep internal state, your willingness to turn yourself towards your higher power, towards the holy power. That willingness is the indication that the Holy Spirit pays attention to, values, and can align with. And so, whenever you find yourself in a situation where old patterns are arising, you find yourself fearful and lacking confidence, quickly join the Holy Spirit in an instant of light. This is similar to the advice of practice the holy instant. It's a practical device meant for you to use. And that is merely by your intention not to remain in the darkness and try to spin your situation in your mind in the darkness, but instead quickly to orient towards Holy Spirit and offer the confusion, bring it into the light. This will be enough to remind you that your goal is light and truth and knowledge.
Truth has rushed to meet you since you called upon it. If you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. You do not know because the journey into darkness has been long and cruel, and you have gone deep into it. A little flicker of your eyelids, closed so long, has not yet been sufficient to give you confidence in yourself, so long despised. You go toward love still hating it and terribly afraid of its judgment upon you. And you do not realize that you are not afraid of love, but only of what you have made of it. You are advancing to love's meaning and away from all illusions in which you have surrounded it. When you retreat to the illusion, your fear increases, for there is little doubt that what you think it means is fearful. Yet, what is that to us who travel surely and very swiftly away from fear?
Mm-hmm. So there's a reference here. If you knew who walks beside you on the way you have chosen, there's a reference. You'll have to help me remember, where is it? It's the reference is who walks with me. It may be a workbook lesson, or it may be somewhere in the text.
It's definitely one of those lessons, like I take the second place to gain the first, or one of those lessons about letting the Holy Spirit lead the way. Something I think it's in there a couple times, but I know the line you're referring to specifically.
I thank you, Susie. I think it is in there a couple times. And so it's the idea is we're not alone on this journey. It can, the ego, that's its frame of reference, that I'm separate and by myself, and that I've got to make it happen on my own, all alone and devoid of resources. The Holy Spirit would have us realize that we are partners in this, that we are doing this together. And in fact, later on, the sense of who walks with me expands to include the entire sonship, the brotherhood. From Holy Spirit's point of view, the entire sonship is perhaps over thousands of years, turning and starting to walk towards the light. So we're never alone. We're always in the company of others here and being guided. Susie, you had your hand up? Maybe that was from before.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that until I really believe that, you know, like I always say, through practical experiences of like getting help with something that I know was not of my own, it's I used to think, like the course says, I had to do this all alone through like my own thinking or my own acting. Maybe if I, like I say, like it, like white knuckling it. But now I really know it's possible to have the Holy Spirit heal my mind, and what she does is heal my thoughts or repurpose my thoughts so I don't have those obsessive thoughts about a situation that used to be fearful for me. Like, I guess an alcoholic could understand when the obsession is taken away or whatever. That's how it's been for me. Like the obsession of whatever was going on for me has been relieved by the Holy Spirit. It can't be by me, it. And so I know she walks with me all the time. Now, whether I choose to use it or not is up to me.
Right.
Anyway, I just wanted to share that because it's been a profound healing for me. And I was a person that never thought that could happen. So,
Thank you.
I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. I really like Susie's expression. I'm white knuckling the course. I'm gonna make this happen here. I think that illustrates really well what we're warning that the ego will want to do. David, you had your hand up. But you're
I was just going to say two lessons. We were talking about lessons before. One was God goes with me wherever I go. And the other one that was, I think, refers to this is love is the way I walk in gratitude.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that lesson. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Thank you. Okay, so again, the metaphor of traveling. What is it to us who travel surely and swiftly away from fear?
You who hold your brother's hand also hold mine. For when you joined each other, you were not alone. Do you believe that I would leave you in the darkness that you agreed to leave with me? In your relationship is this world's light, and fear must disappear before you now. Be tempted not to snatch away the gift of faith you offered to your brother. You will succeed only in frightening yourself. The gift is given forever, for God Himself received it. You cannot take it back. You have accepted God. The holiness of your relationship is established in heaven. You do not understand what you accepted, but remember that your understanding is not necessary. All that was necessary was merely the wish to understand. That wish was the desire to be holy. The will of God is granted you, for you desire the only thing you ever had or ever were.
So, in A Course in Miracles, the holy relationship with the Creator and all of creation is the preeminent thought, the preeminent idea. Yes, forgiveness is required to accept the holy idea in your mind, but the goal is a goal of holiness. It's a goal that you are not alone in. but that you join each other and ultimately everyone in. And in that relationship with creation is where all the light is. The holy instant is a miniature of that relationship in an encounter, even in time, in this life. And so its origins, the holiness of your relationship, is established in heaven, not on earth. So it's a heavenly snapshot of heaven experienced here on earth. And it is not, our understanding of it is not necessary for the experience of it. In fact, we would say the holy relationship is so profound, it's beyond our current understanding. Is that safe to say? I'm not sure that that's true. It's beyond our full knowledge of. So, since understanding it is not necessary, what is? It's the wish to understand it. It's the direction. This is the way we're moving, is towards clarity and light and understanding. It's the wish is the desire to be holy. And in the Spirit's plan of healing, that desire to be holy eventually replaces all other earthly desires, all earthly idols, earthly illusions. It replaces all of them. And that desire to be holy winds up being the most fulfilling experience that creation offers, is the desire to be holy, and the experience of it proves to be extremely satisfying. It's your source of happiness, tranquility, peace, joy, love, and fulfilling relationships. And it's God's plan for you. Your desire for the holiness is the only thing, it's your experience with reality. So it cannot be, words cannot even describe it, but we know that this is the penultimate experience, is a relationship with everything that is.
Each instant that we spend together will teach you that this goal is possible and will strengthen your desire to reach it. And in your desire lies its accomplishment. Your desire is now in complete accord with all the power of the Holy Spirit's will. No little faltering footsteps that you may take can separate your desire from His will and from His strength. I hold your hand as surely as you agreed to take your brother's. You will not separate, for I stand with you and walk with you in your advance to truth. And where we go, we carry God with us.
So there's a subtle point here that I would really draw your attention to. I think this is maybe the most important point in this reading. And it's the difference between the way you would judge yourself in terms of the holy relationship, the way you think about yourself in terms of the things we're reading about. That inevitably becomes an ego judgment, an evaluation, a means of grading yourself. Am I there yet? Have I accomplished it? Beware of that. It's somewhat similar to after you meditate for 20 minutes, you come out of it and you say, that wasn't a good one. you're grading yourself there. Beware of that. What the Course says is that each time you spend oriented towards this goal, you strengthen your desire to reach it. And here's the key: in your desire lies its accomplishment. Your wanting it is the essence, that's the alignment of your will with the goal. That's the measure, not that we need to measure, but that is the indicator of union, is your desire for it, not whether or not afterwards you evaluate yourself and what you say about the evaluation. And so it's a caution to not analyze your experience, but trust that when your will is aligned with this goal, that is the accomplishment, that your will is aligned. Desire is now in complete accord with all the power of the Holy Spirit's will. Another way is to say is it's your will plus the Holy Spirit's will is the accomplishment when they're in complete accord. And this and that supplants any other wishes, fantasies, desires for something else that the ego might proffer to you. So be aware of that, is the Holy Spirit is looking for your willingness, your little willingness. Doesn't have to be perfect, but your little willingness to align with the will of the Holy Spirit. That's your gift.
In your relationship, you have joined with me in bringing heaven to the Son of God, who hid in darkness. You have been willing to bring the darkness to light, and this willingness has given strength to everyone who would remain in darkness. Those who would see will see, and they will join with me in carrying their light into the darkness, when the darkness in them is offered to the light and is removed forever. My need for you, joined with me in the holy light of your relationship, is your need for salvation. Would I not give you what you gave to me? For when you joined your brother, you answered me.
Those who would see will see, and they will join with me in carrying their light into the darkness. So this might sound like a contradiction from what we read earlier, where we were discouraged from bringing the light into the darkness, and rather was encouraged to bring the darkness into the light. So I have an interpretation to offer here that distinguishes the two. In the first instance, in the ego effort to bring the darkness into the light, I would have you think about that as something you do in your own mind, where you take a truth and trying to make it fit into the ego framework. That's bringing the light into the darkness, and we're discouraged from making that effort. In the second attempt, again, this is my interpretation, and there are other interpretations. The second attempt is where you have placed your faith and your willingness into the light, and have undone to some extent the patterns of the ego in your life. And now you're carrying that message to others, and you carry the light into their darkness. It is a reference here to this, that it's relational. You've been willing to bring the darkness to the light. And this brings strength to everyone who remains in darkness. So the second one is to practice these principles in all your affairs, to carry this message to others. And so that is our goal as healers and teachers, is to carry the light to those who have not yet fully awakened to it. And so we're actually being recruited by Christ to share that message. My need for you, joined in the holy light, is that you would carry this message along to others. So that's my interpretation of it. I feel pretty confident it works for me. And I'm happy to entertain any other interpretations as well, because this is something that will come up again and again. Is, well, what is it? Are we taking the darkness into the light, or the light into the darkness? You can see how the two could easily get all discombobulated in our understanding and in our interpretation. Welcome, Mo.
You, who are now the bringer of salvation, have the function of bringing light to darkness. The darkness in you has been brought to light. Carry it back to darkness from the holy instant to which you brought it. We are made whole in our desire to make whole. Let not time worry you, for all the fear that you and your brother experience is really past. Time has been readjusted to help us do together what your separate pasts would hinder. You have gone past fear, for no two minds can join in the desire for love without love's joining them.
Mm-hmm. Well, as usual, the interpretation is in the next paragraph, what we were just talking about a moment ago. So it's a transition in your journey to when you now become the bringer of salvation. And in that role, you bring light into the darkness, for the benefit of both healing yourself as well as others. Because to give all to all, we are made whole in our desire to make whole. And so carrying this message to others is a vital part of completing our own healing. Notice the reference to time here. Time has been readjusted to help us in doing something that our past would hinder. That's a reference that it is aligned with another statement that is found in the text, which says that Christ is now in charge of time and space, and he will rearrange circumstances of space and time to aid in this spread of the light. Time will be readjusted as necessary. The holy instant is an example of a readjustment of time. It's a time being used for eternal purposes. And so it's a shift in the normal uses of time and space to one that serves the goal of holiness. And that can be have effect on others if you're willing to enter into that. No two minds can join in the desire for love without love joining them. In that moment, time is readjusted in that their mind then is engaged in an understanding along with you, who are the carrier of light, that love is here and present right now. And so, again, it's not necessary that we understand all the mechanics of how such things are possible. What is necessary is that we desire to and are willing to align with this purpose. Heather?
I just thought of an example. I remember one time I had a patient who was in a crisis, and so it was taking up extra time from my next appointments. And so when I finally got out, my secretary said, "Oh, you just need to know the next two people canceled their appointments right in a row." And I just was so grateful to realize that I was not in charge of time, that those appointments were canceled for me because what I was doing in the moment was the most important thing. And I just remembered that when you said that, it just really touches me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Heather. And one of the things that Heather won't tell you, but I will, is Heather was very giving of her time, whereas in her psychotherapy practice, she, I think it's safe to say, she gave people more time in their appointments than any other psychotherapist. Typically, I won't go into all details, but yes, time is not in our hands when we're dedicated to a holy purpose and giving another person our time. Somehow everything works out.
Not one light in heaven but goes with you. Not one ray that shines forever in the mind of God but shines on you. Heaven is joined with you in your advance to heaven. When such great lights have joined with you to give the little spark of your desire the power of God Himself, can you remain in darkness? You and your brother are coming home together after a long and meaningless journey that you undertook apart and that led nowhere. You have found your brother, and you will light each other's way. And from this light will the great rays extend back into darkness and forward unto God, to shine away the past and so make room for His eternal presence, in which everything is radiant in the light.
How beautiful. Remember, this section is entitled Light in the Dream. It's about extending the light. Begins as a little spark of your willingness, your desire to share in the goal of truth and healing. And that little spark extends to others. As we talked about a moment ago, you carry this light to others, and together that light grows and expands. I'm just thinking about the candlelight service that I was at a few days ago, where it starts out, it was a room full of people about several thousand people. And it started out as one candlelight in a dark room, and then eventually spread to everyone. We were holding our candles. Everyone had a lit candle, and the whole room was illuminated. What was just a little bit of light expanded to illuminate the entire room. So it is about spreading the light. It's a metaphor for spreading the light, which is referred to here in this passage. From this light, the great rays, which are the holy light within each of us, extend both back into the darkness of others who have yet to recognize it and forward unto God. And that illuminates one's mind. To underscore that, I want to rephrase these first two sentences, which are written in the form of double negatives and sometimes can be a little difficult to follow. So I'm going to reinterpret here. Every light in heaven but goes with you. Every ray that shines forever in the mind of God shines on you. Think about that. In the mind of God, there must be a lot of rays of light. Every ray of light that shines forever, it's eternal light in the mind of God, shines on you. It's a joining of the lights, similar to that experience where everyone's candlelight joins together to create an enormously bright light in the room. So sometimes it's easier to teach in terms of pictures than it is in words. And so we have a way of learning, and I just want to share that image that we had at the beginning, which is somewhat like that, where everyone is illuminated by the same light together. And so to summarize the point here, we're all in our journey. Those who wish for the light will have it. It's not your understanding. It doesn't require that you white knuckle this program and try to jam all this understanding of the principles in your mind. What is required is that your heart and soul treasure these things, that you'd be willing to orient on a daily basis towards this learning journey. And that willingness, that wish to be holy is honored by the Holy Spirit. She complements your little willingness to learn with her mighty willingness to bring all of us home to the light. Did we finish reading that section? I think we did. Yeah. All right. Well, that's as far as we're going to go today. It seems like these themes come at the perfect time of year, around Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's. It just seems that it's congruent with, in many places, people have lights out in their yards and everything. Just coincidentally, happens at the same time of year there. So remember, we're having a constant experience of choosing to share the light in the dream. Susie?
Yeah, I just wanted to share something. Last night, I had just a little bit of a old, you know, the anxiety or fear thought or whatever. And in the past, I would have completely joined with that and thought, that's who I am. And oh my God, it's back, and stuff like that. And I just immediately said, okay, Holy Spirit, I didn't even say it. I actually knew, like, okay, this is just my ego trying to mess with me. Like, that's all that it is. And, then I said something to the Holy Spirit, like, I know what this is. And when I got in bed, as I say every night, I'm just like, heal my mind, Holy Spirit, like, heal my mind. I'm willing, heal my mind. And, I'm fine. And I only bring that up because in the past I would have been, oh my God, I'm so messed up and that's who I am. And I always say to David, like, that's just who I ended up being through all my domestication and my life experiences. It's not who I am. Who's the I there? And I don't have to stay that way. And I used to think that's who I was, and that was my lot in life, and that's how I had to be. And I know now I can be free and happy and joyous. And I, never thought that was possible. So, meaning, like, I could have made a horrific story around last night, but I didn't, and it's gone, and it's just amazing. And because of that, I can share that with my brothers, right? Like my 12-year-old granddaughter last night, my kids are here, and we were at this big event at Mirasol with games, and there was a lot of people and activity. And she said to me, I'm a little anxious, and I said, and I could relate to that because I used to feel that way in big crowds. And I said, that's okay, Kylie. Like, you're just experiencing what you're experiencing. Just go with it, and you, it'll be okay. And you know what? It was okay for her. She kind of like just experienced it, walked through it, and I didn't tell her to ask the Holy Spirit for help or anything like that, but I was with her, and then she was just fine. And that's like bringing my light to her darkness, and it's only because I know it's possible to get through that now. So it was a really cool moment for me with her.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful that, and her parents are like that too, my kids, and I'm grateful that she has that as a child in her life now, that she doesn't have to walk this path of fear.
Yes.
She gets to know there's a different way. Yeah. Anyway, just wanted to share that.
Mhm.
Can I just say something? What you just shared is so beautiful because it reminds me of what we just read, Who Walks With Me? And when you did that with your granddaughter or whoever she was, you were basically, the Holy Spirit was walking with her. You were demonstrating that. It was beautiful.
Thanks. It was really I couldn't do it, if I wasn't in this course. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, that's a lovely note to conclude this session on. So thank you all for your sharing. Thank you for being here, and look forward to getting again real soon. David, thank you for reading.
Thank you, David.
Let's stay
Thank you,
connected.
Davey.
Thank you, everyone.
Remember to walk in the light.
Happy holidays. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace and love.
Bye.